Greetings and welcome to another episode of Trippy Food, and today we're doing something special. So by invitation of Tom, old guy in Colorado, Raymond, take a bow.
You.
Actually, Tom asked me, would I be interested in making spotted dick? Now, before we get started, I would like to say that this entire episode will most likely be laced with more double entendre than you can possibly deal with. But just keep in mind, we're talking about spotted dick, which is a British dessert, right?
Right. And I think it was invented something like 1850 something, I think.
I would have thought it would be older than that.
So did I.
Yeah. So it's really a sponge cake pudding, and when I say pudding means something different in the UK. So it's not like Jello pudding. It's not like chocolate pudding or banana pudding. It's not like that.
Right.
Pudding is like a little cake, right?
Yeah, I think custard for them would be like a pudding for us.
Yeah, and it could be different. It could be different things as well. So like if Yorkshire pudding, and Yorkshire pudding's almost like a popover, right? So it's not even really like a cake. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the exact definition of what they call pudding in the UK. Like black pudding. Black pudding is pork blood mixed with suet and I think some sort of grain, and then fried up for breakfast. It looks nothing like pudding, and it tastes nothing like pudding. But they call it black pudding.
Yep.
So, Tom had forwarded me a recipe, because there's a lot of recipes out there. If you go look on the internet, you're going to find a lot of recipes out there. So he said, well, let's work from the same recipe. So, Tom, what is the site that you sent me the recipe for?
After I talked to you about doing spotted dick, I figured maybe we should work on the same one. I started looking at some different YouTube channels and different recipes, and I found this one. It was Todd's Kitchen is what it was called, and I'm not sure where he's from, but it was a pretty quick, simple, easy recipe to follow. Didn't really need any special things as far as like bowls or molds or anything like that, just a piece of parchment paper, and so I figured, hey, we'll use that one. So
we'll put the link for his recipe down below, so you'll be able to go out there and see it if you want to do it yourself. It's relatively simple. So he has you mix 2 cups of flour, I think, and my conversion may be different, but because it was metric. His measurements were in metric. 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder if it's not self-rising flour, 2 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1 1/5 cup of raisins, and one orange zest, one zest from one orange. Now, one of the things that you mentioned, Tom, was that you don't like raisins. And so you were saying, can I substitute currants for that? And you absolutely can substitute currants, because I think in some traditional, if you look at some of the other traditional recipes, they mention currants and not raisins. So I think it's whatever you're comfortable with, raisins or currants. I could not get currants. I went to several stores looking for currants and I could not find them, so I used raisins. But you don't like raisins.
I had to go to a local health store type market, Whole Foods type place, and I got lucky they had some. So.
Oh, that's probably what I should have done, gone to Whole Foods. So the only variation in the recipe on my part was I used raisins and not currants. And did you make any changes at all?
Well, the changes to the actual recipe that we're going to put the link onto, that recipe called for raisins.
Oh, okay.
And I used currants instead of raisins.
Okay. So, the other thing is that his recipe specifies, once you get all the dry ingredients mixed together, then you add a cup of butter, right? And that is different than real traditional spotted dick, because real traditional spotted dick would use suet, which is beef fat.
Right.
It uses beef fat instead of butter. But butter is from a cow, so I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, it's not quite the same, but
yeah. So that would be a difference. Now, his recipe shows, which is what you did, right? You So explain to me the process of how you actually once you mixed all the ingredients together, how you put it together. I mean, how you made it.
Well, it was like you said. I just went along with the video. He kind of scooped it out onto a piece of parchment paper, kind of made it a log sort of shape. He rolled it tightly, and then he unrolled it, and then loosely rolled the paper around so that it had room to grow. And crimped the ends a little bit, put it in the steamer, and that was literally all it was.
Right. Now his recipe or his production of showing how to make it, he has a steamer, and he shows you he puts the parchment in the parchment with the spotted dick dough in the steamer, and then turns it on and lets it go. How long does it go? How long does it go for in the steamer?
An hour. I have a Presto fryer thing. It can double as a steamer or whatever. Basket's a little small, but worked great.
Yeah. So I didn't have a steamer, and so what I did was I opted to make it similar to how you make brown bread, New England brown bread. So if anybody's not familiar with that, we actually have a video, Trippy food video, and I'll link that one at the end of our this video, so you can see how you make brown bread. And so basically, I took a tin can, from pumpkin it was, so because pumpkin spice, right? I took a tin can, and basically I put I had a basket steamer for a pot. Put the oven on, I think it's 400. Filled the water up to about halfway up where the tin would sit. I put the dough in the tin, and I put half. I kind of formed it by hand so there'd be a little bit of space, just so that it could expand and also expand up. So I only put like half amount in the can. I filled up the can halfway, and then put a tiny little bit of space in between so it could expand out and it could expand up. And then I put foil on top of it, and I took a piece of string, tied that around it, similar to how you would make brown bread. And then I put that in the oven for, I think it was 35 minutes, something along those lines. And then we both made the custard sauce, right? And so did his recipe say how to make the custard sauce, or did you use it?
It did not. No.
Okay. So I followed another recipe for making the custard sauce, which is basically 4 eggs and 3 teaspoons of sugar. Kind of whisk those together, heat them up on the stove, and pour in a cup of boiling milk. Right? Is that similar to what you use?
Yeah, it's pretty close to what I did. I did just a smaller amount, I think. I did 2 egg yolks, maybe a quarter cup of sugar or so, a little bit of vanilla, a couple teaspoons of cornstarch. Whisked it all in really well. Got the hot milk, and then I tempered in the milk into the eggs, into the mix, and then finished it off. Turned out pretty decent.
Now mine did not turn out decent, but I think I know why. I've never made custard sauce before, but what I think I did was I let it cook too long. So basically, I just have to wait till that till that mixes together, right? Where the eggs are somewhat cooked. But the problem is I think I let it go too far, and so what I ended up with is something like I'm going to call it like sweet scrambled eggs, because that's kind of what it looks like, right?
Yep.
It's kind of lumpy, and I'm sure yours is like creamy, right? Because again, I think that
I haven't got mine actually plated up yet, but
yeah, that's what it should look like.
That sauce.
So yeah. Now I've already prepared my dick. And so I have it on the plate with the custard sauce already on it. Now you have not, right? So you have to cut yours and plate.
This is the dick, how it came out of the steamer, less the parchment paper.
Okay.
Not really nice.
Now it is supposed to be like a sponge cake.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a steamed sponge cake. So if the texture is spongy, you probably made it right. Now I will tell, while you're preparing that, I will tell people that you can, if you want to use a shortcut, you can actually go to a like probably a British grocery. There's like a British pub that has a little grocery in it. Even some of the bigger like international type groceries will probably have this. They'll probably have spotted dick that you can bring home, and you can actually make this in the microwave oven I think there's a microwave oven process, or there's a process where you can put it in water and that looks really good. That looks perfect. What more than you couldn't ask for anything else, right? But these, I'm going to go ahead and open this, and I believe these were a gift from my friend Sharon Redmond from the UK. So she sent a goodie box, and I think that these were in there. So basically, it's already some of the other recipes specify using a spotted dick, like a tin, I think is what they call it, a tin or a cup, and it's something that's already shaped like this. I think it's metal, and it has a lid that you put on it to steam it in, right? So this is already shaped and everything. It doesn't look as nice. I don't know if you can see that too well. It doesn't look as nice, but this is a store-bought spotted dick that you can, either, like I said, steam in a pot of water on the stove, or make in the microwave oven. Either way. So there you go. Are you ready, Tom?
You spotted dick.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's take a bite of this thing. So I think the tell is going to be the cross section, right? Pull up yours there with the bite taken out of it. Yeah, that looks nice. All right, here we go.
Wow, that's really nice. The orange peel, or the orange zest, really flavored it nicely.
Now I'm trying to recall, because I've had it within the past couple of years. Mine is really moist and really dense, and I'm trying to remember if that's how I had it when I got one of the store-bought ones.
Mine's pretty. Let's see if I can get this. You can see it's pretty light and fluffy.
Yeah, and it's crumbly too, right?
Yeah,
All kind of falls apart.
Very moist. This is really good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I don't have the experience in the kitchen that you do, so I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to come out right. And again, I had to use a different process than probably is what is traditional. But again, I don't have a steamer. But I have to say, yeah, it did come up pretty good.
Oh yeah. I'm happy with it. I've only ate spotted dick once before, decades ago.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Yeah. It was only once, and I was drunk. And I've never made it before, so I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I don't know if it has the texture of a real spotted dick, but
they can vary. Again, mine seems denser and moister. I think typically I think it's maybe a little bit lighter, but I don't recall offhand. Maybe I'll just have to make this one later so I can see. As a matter of fact, we did a Trippy Food episode, College Snacks, and we did one of the it's a metal tin, and you put it in water on the stove and you steam it in the can on the stove for, I don't know, like 10-15 minutes or something like that. And so we actually had that before, so I'll have to go back and watch that to see what my reaction to that spotted dick was as opposed to mine. So but that was a few years back. So I appreciate the challenge, Tom. I think this was a tasty challenge. So usually your challenges end up with both of us going like, what were we thinking? But this one actually is a really tasty challenge, and it came out really good. So thank you.
I figured it was about time we actually tried something that tasted good.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know, right? I mean, you never made it before. I never made it before. I mean, I have more faith in your skills than mine, but still, I think it came out pretty good. So thumbs up.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Tom, as always, thank you for joining us today. And I'm sure we've got other stuff on the plate. I think you sent me some other stuff that I have to take a look at. Was it vinegar pie was one of the things?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and there's some other ones too, and there's some horrible ones too that we talked about. So there will be more of these, hopefully in the near future. But again, appreciate you joining us today. Make sure you check out Tom's channel, Old Guy in Colorado. There's a link down below. When you go out there, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check click on the thumbs up buttons, the like buttons on the videos. Tom, thank you again, and remember, it's crazy out there. So please take care of yourselves. Please take care of others, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thanks for checking out Trippy Food. If you enjoyed watching that video half as much as I did making it, well then I enjoyed it twice as much as you did. And if that's the case, you'll probably like this video right here. And if not, check out this video right here. That one's a little bit different. Either way, leave a comment down below. And be sure to subscribe by clicking on the Trippy Food icon right here. Glad you could make it, and we hope to see you again soon.